Okay, welcome back. This is Mr. Hassan's Maths channel, and this is a question that I've been asked to answer by one of my students in the AS class, and this is from P1, the Pearson at Excel International A-Level textbook from Chapter 1. This is exercise 1C, question number 2. Now, here's a question which is something different from what they're used to because it doesn't have it's got x to the power 4 instead of x to the power of 2 as the highest power. All right, so this is something which is, you could say it's called a disguised quadratic because if you notice that this term is x to the power 4 and x to the power 4 is the square of x to the power of 2. So this term is the square of that term. So when you notice something like that, you can convert it into quadratic form. So one of the ways of doing it is saying, okay, let me say, let's call the letter, for example, b. Let's call that x squared. All right, so if b is x squared, then if I square b, then I have to square x squared. That's going to give me x to the power 4. X squared squared is x to the power 4. So if I replace the x squared with b, then I've got to replace the x to the power 4 with b squared. In that case, this becomes 2 times b squared plus 14 times b plus 24. Now, the reason I did that is to make it look more familiar as a quadratic equation, or a quadratic expression, sorry. And this is something that I know how to factorize. So we can factorize it in terms of b, and then replace what we have in terms of b with what x is. So for example here, what we can do is we know that the best way to factorize something like this is to take out the common factor, which is 2. And then you're left with b squared plus, that's going to be 7b plus a half of 24, 12. And then this is a simple factorization where this goes into 2 brackets. You have to find 2 numbers. You've got a b here and a b here. 2 numbers multiplied to give you 12 and add to give you 7. Well, that's 3 and 4. So b plus 3 and b plus 4. Now, we can't leave this answer like this because our answer is in terms of x's. So we can say that this is going to be the same, therefore, as 2 times. Now, instead of b, we can have to write what b is in terms of x. And we know b is x squared. So this is x squared plus 3. And this is x squared plus 4. None of this factorizes any further. If this was a minus here, for example, that would factorize further now because you have x squared minus 4, difference of squares, x plus 4, x minus 4. But it doesn't, x plus 2, sorry, x minus 2. But this doesn't factorize any further. And there we have the answer for that question. I hope that was clear. There will be exposed to more questions of this disguised quadratic type when we do chapter 2. I guess this was just a little introduction that they put there in this to see who could deal with it. So that's how you deal with a question like this, where you notice that there are not actually quadratics, not to the power of 2. The highest power is not the power of 2, but you have a term which is the square of the other term in the expression. So you have this is the square of that term. So x to the power 4 is the square of x to the power of 2. You can convert it into a quadratic, and this is one way of doing it by saying let b be x squared. So you can replace the b with x squared. So you can replace x squared with b, and then that means that x to the power 4 can be replaced with b squared, making it into a familiar type of quadratic equation. And then in the end, don't forget to replace the b with x squared, and that's our answer. So I hope that's clear. Thank you for watching. Other questions that you might want to watch from this particular chapter of this book, I'll collect in the playlist over here where I'll answer the questions that I've been asked from students. I'll put that playlist in this section here. Other questions from the topic of algebraic expressions from P1 you can find in this playlist over here. And if you'd like to find other questions which are related to P1, like the topics, or P2 topics, or any other topics to do with AS or A-level, international A-level maths, there'll be the index in the description of this video that you'll be able to look at, and you find your way to those. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.